starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on...
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time on this terrific Tuesday. Really is a pretty good Tuesday. A lot of things to get into tonight. We got the latest college football rankings that came out about an hour or so ago. Some interesting things there. We got a decent little slate of college basketball tonight. We got a couple college football games, actually, including one halfway decent MAC game for it being the MAC. And then we got NBA and NHL tonight. So a bevy of things to put a couple of shekels on and hopefully make a couple bucks before we are through tonight. But first up, before we get to it all, as always, game time. What's betting you off tonight, Gabe?
A lot of things tonight. We can get into the college football. I don't know why they call it college anymore. All hell is broken loose. UCLA are going to leave the Rose Bowl and go play at SoFi Stadium. And words I never thought I would ever say, literally and figuratively, when is Michigan's out clause of the Big Ten, as there's actually reports that USC and Michigan could leave the Big Ten. There's a power grab going on in the Big Ten right now, and Michigan and USC are on the same side, and everybody else is against them. And there's basically the USC are already talking with the ACC, right? Like to end up with Stanford and Cal and everything, and there's talk of Michigan going independent. Now, listen, we're far ways away from this. In a way we are, in a way we're not. But, all hell is broken loose. And I'm also pretty upset. The Montreal Canadiens are playing the LA Kings right now. Dallas Stars are playing the Ottawa Senators. You have a good night of hockey in the National Hockey League. I'm 3,000 miles away from those cities that these games are in, yet I'm blacked out. Okay, Gary, way to grow the sport, bro. 2025, and we've got blackouts. What, do you want me to get on a plane and fly to Montreal to watch the damn game? I'm sorry, I can't do it. So I guess I don't get to watch it unless I pay to watch the game specifically. So go screw yourselves. I love the NHL, but, man, you make it hard to be a fan.
It is true. We bring up examples time after time after time, and that's crazy. Being 3,000 miles away and somehow or another you're under the blackout rule. I mean, how do they justify that? Like, you're really going to hop on a plane? The whole thing started with, okay, we don't want to have you stay at home rather than go to the game. So if you live in the vicinity, we're going to black you out. But 3,000 miles away, that's beyond dumb. So, all right, got a bunch of things to have some money on tonight. Opening pickoff time here, Gabe. I'll start with college football just kicking off. MAC game, I'll take the better of the two games. Well, I'll take Ohio plus 1.5 at Western Michigan. Two of the better teams on the line here. Ohio's won 3 of the last 4 matchups, including 2 in a row. It's a toss-up game, as the point spread would indicate. But I just like the pedigree of Ohio that I do more than Western Michigan. So give me Ohio plus the 1.5.
We went 3-1 with the pickoff last night, so we look to keep a strong week rolling here tonight. It is a toss-up of a football game. Scott isn't wrong. 2 of the better teams in the MAC. They're both 4-1 in conference play. This is a big-time football game, and it should be a good one by MAC standards. Like, both teams are in contention to go to the conference championship game. Listen, Western Michigan are 5-4, but if you look at their 4 losses, they lost to Michigan State. They lost to Illinois. They lost to North Texas, right? And then they lost on the road once at Miami of Ohio, and no shame in that. This is a good football team. They're not really great at anything, but they do have one of the better defenses in the MAC, giving up like 19 points a game. We've always talked about the Ohio Bobcats being one of the more consistent programs in this conference. Big game tonight. Really can go either way, but I'm going to go with the home team in what is their last home game of the year as well. It's senior night. They go on the road for the final 2 weeks of the season. Senior night, final home game for a lot of these players on the Broncos. Give me Western Michigan on their home field.
All right. I'll go to NBA for pick number 2. Over 227.5 Golden State at OKC. Now, the Thunder are one of the rare teams that can play defense when they want to, and they do play defense from time to time, but not against Golden State. How about a 10-1 over series run? Last 11 meetings, 10 have gone over. 227.5 is a modest number, as crazy as that may sound for 2025 NBA basketball. Golden State had a day off yesterday, so everybody should be playing. You should get an A game out of them. OKC, same thing. All off, should get an A game out of them. I don't know how this doesn't hit 228, so give me over 227.5 Oklahoma City and Golden State.
I'll get to that game in a moment. I'll go with a college basketball game right now since they tip off so quickly, after their start times. But really interesting, big-time sort of early season matchup here between 2 schools, 2 programs. They really don't like each other for real in Kentucky and Louisville. And I, quite frankly, really don't understand the point spread in this basketball game tonight. Now, it has come down. It was 6.5 earlier in the day. It's closing pretty much at 6 right now. But we're talking about a Louisville basketball team that hasn't beaten Kentucky since 2020. It's been 5 years since they've beaten them. They've lost 6 of the last 7 times. And, oh, yeah, the players on Louisville were talking smack like a couple of days ago about Kentucky and about winning this basketball game. Kentucky have kept it closer to the vest and stating, we'll let our play on the court do the talking. But it's a really cool matchup. A lot of the kids know each other from high school and the prep schools and all that type of stuff. So you've got one of these local type rivalries early in the year, and I'm getting 6.5 points with the Kentucky Wildcats. Give me the Kentucky Wildcats plus the points.
All right, I'll get to that game in a second. My third one, so keep it in order here. Let's go hockey. I'll take Anaheim. I won't go too crazy. I won't grab them plus the 2-1. Give me Anaheim plus the 1.5 at -118. Anaheim has won 7 straight. And included in those wins, games against Vegas and Winnipeg, they're not feasting on the San Jose's of the world. They're actually beating real hockey teams. This team is in first place, 9-3-1. Like I said, they've won 7 in a row. Colorado, obviously very good. No 2 ways about that. I'm not going to say anything negative about the Avalanche. But you know what? I'm just going to ride the Ducks wave, Gabe. Give me Anaheim. I'll go conservative. I'll take the goal and a half -118.
I like that play. I don't have a problem with it. I'll get into some late night pucks a little bit later on. Oklahoma City and Golden State. Now, Speaking of NHL blackouts, I don't know. I thought NBC had a game on every Tuesday and this and that and stuff, but maybe it's on Peacock or something, whatever. But it should be an interesting basketball game tonight. One thing about these teams when they play, they do play close games all the time. Another basketball game that I think the point spread is too high in, and in fact, it's up to 8.5 right now. 8.5, 9. There's been a late push on Oklahoma City. Listen, guys, the Thunder are 10-1 on the season. They're only 6-5 against the spread. They're overpriced right now. Golden State are 6-5 straight up, but they're 6-5 against the spread. All right, you have to go back a ways. You know, the last time Oklahoma City blew Golden State out. So, you know, this should be a closer basketball game tonight. We talk about it. Oklahoma City are getting by, but they're overpriced with the point spread. Give me the Warriors plus the points.
All right, I'll go back to the Kentucky game, Gabe. I'm in the same camp as you. Kentucky, you mentioned it. They've dominated this series, as good as a rivalry as it's been. Where's Rick Pitino and then John Calipari when we need them? It's been all Kentucky for the most part. You know, the Cats have won 8 of the last 10. You're getting, close to a touchdown here, 6.5 points. In fact, right now it's 7.5 as they've tipped off here, and Louisville's got a little 4-point lead. Cats, scored 100 points. Cardinals have scored 100 points in their 2 games, but against South Carolina State and I think Jacksonville State. Who cares, right? You want to give me 6.5 with Kentucky? I think they can win the thing outright. I'll gladly take 6.5 with Kentucky. Mark Pope's did a real good job. That program has not dropped off at all. In fact, you make the case it's got even better. So give me Kentucky plus the points.
Like Kentucky plus the points as well. And we got a hockey game going off the board in a couple of minutes here. Listen, the Calgary Flames have only won 4 times this year. They've been shut out in back-to-back games. Now they take on a Blues team that have beaten them 7 straight times. The Blues haven't had a great start to the season, but they are scoring goals. They are winning games. Give me the St. Louis Blues.
Opening pickoff. We are in. Plenty more bets coming up. In-game live just underway.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling, competitive series between 2 teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada and Toronto and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run, hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. This will be a lot of fun. You know, I enjoy doing the the Monday and Thursday shows because of the NFL football, but in a lot of ways I enjoy days like this a little bit more, and that a little bit of everything. You know, if you're a sports fan, we got it all. We got some college football. It's not great, but it's a competitive back game that we keep an eye on. The Akron-Kent State game, you know about that, but we got some good college basketball, some NBA, some NHL, so we should be popping all over the place, Gabe. Like, I got the Kentucky game on now. They already got 29 points and they played 5.5 minutes. This was a huge number. It kind of scared me off. It was like 174, 175 or so. But, boy, these guys are going up and down the court like there's no tomorrow. 31 points now, 17-14 Louisville. I don't know if it's going to stop. The last two times they faced each other, it was a high-scoring game, played in the 180s or so. This one might hit it. It's 179 right now, so it's up even a few more points than what it was. But you talk about a torrid pace. Both these teams are going up and down the court like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, it is a track meet early, 17-14. I've got my eye on the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets as well. And one of the few people that are having my eyes on this besides Raptor fans, because I don't think Net fans really watch the team very often right now. But for the record, the Raptors are on a 13-0 run right now. They're up 34-30, but similar situation. There's not a lot of defense being played in this basketball game. I've got the Raptors at moneyline parlays already, but I just took the in-game over 235 and a half, and we'll see if it slows down. I kind of missed the boat. I thought, I obviously thought Louisville and Kentucky was going to be a higher scoring game, but I don't like betting a total of 173 and a half, 174, like in the third game of the year. You know what I mean? Like, I need to have seen it to believe it. Like, you need a clean ride. And the thing is, too, and I say this as somebody that's on Kentucky tonight, they're not great shooters, Kentucky, right? Like a lot of teams nowadays, but they shoot threes, but they don't do it very well, right? They only, they hit like 30% of their three-point shots. They never topped 31%, I saw, in any one of their games, Kentucky. And Louisville are better at it. Louisville do bomb a lot of threes, so I guess it's just one of those deals. There's going to be a lot of threes tonight. Whether they go in or not is a different story. So I sort of wanted to take a wait-and-see approach with the in-game total, but it has been a strong start. And even being a Michigan fan, I was kind of baffled, Scott. We talk about the number being baffled by why would Louisville be 6.5-point favorites in what's kind of a toss-up, pick-em type game. And as we stated, Kentucky have owned them. Michigan. I know that Michigan are good this year, and they're ranked 6 in the AP poll this week, and they smoked, and people did take notice of it. Said, oh, look, they scored 121 on the same Oakland team Purdue had problems with. But I thought it was strange that Michigan were basically like 15.5, 16-point favorites tonight against Wake Forest. It's a lot of points to be laying against a good team like Wake.
Yeah. I thought that line was kind of high, and I thought Murray State getting 10.5 against SMU was kind of high as well. Murray State's been a decent little basketball program over the years. Anytime you get double digits, albeit on the road, who's SMU to be laying double digits? You mentioned, speaking of double digits, you mentioned Toronto game. The Nets are just awful. But this is why, betting the NBA is tough, right? Because without seeing the lines, I was looking forward to betting Toronto tonight, right? And then I see the opening line, and it's 10.5 on the road, Toronto. 10.5.
It closed at 9.5, but it's a lot of points to lay on the road.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, an NBA team, unless you're Terry Rozier or a couple of players, they don't care about the point spread. Right? I mean, I'm not going to say no players care, because we found out some players kind of do. Like, there's been a rare instance. I still can't get over Rozier running down the court down 9. The point spread was 8.5, and the Heat were down 9. And it was like 5 seconds left. He got the ball. He literally sprinted down the court and laid the ball in and did a little
to win by 11.
To cut the lead to 7. So they went from 9 to 7, and they were getting 8.5. So he bet on the team to cover, evidently, right? Like, so I just like that he was hell bent at the last second. But yeah, it's a lot of points, and like the Raptors don't care if they cover or not; they just want to win the game, right? So if they win by 4, they win by 6, it's a good night for them. They got a road win. So yeah, the NBA, it's a tough handicap, Scott. The NBA, big point spreads, blowouts. And pretty much every damn game, bro, has injuries. And is this guy playing or isn't he playing? There's always somebody out all the time in this league.
Yeah, it's become college football into thinking like NFL. The difference between NFL and college,
in the COVID era, Scott, when we didn't know who was playing every week, that's what it's become.
Right, that too, right? But NFL, most of my picks, I would say 90% of them are on the team I think is going to win. Like, rarely will I bet on an NFL team I think is going to lose but cover the spread, even though it happens a lot. But college, no. College, you can easily cover the spread and not win the game because the spreads are so big. That's what the NBA's become. It used to be just, all right, I'm going to bet on the team I think is going to win. But nowadays with 10.5-point spreads, but the Nets have lost 9 games, 7 by double digits. So it's like you can't let the spread scare you away. It's almost like don't even look at the spreads. You just pick the team and hopefully that they cover the number.
But you look at a team like Oklahoma City, they're 10-1 straight up, but they're only 6-5 against the spread, right? So in the NBA, the spread is a big barometer. In the NFL, it isn't. Right? In the NFL, we talk about it. We all talk about point spreads. For whatever reason, we're dumb. Like it's a big waste of time almost, like these point spreads. They rarely come into play. They really do. They rarely come into play. It's like 82% of the time, the team that wins the game. Basically 18% of the time, guys, the point spread comes into play. We talk about like how, why did we didn't have to tease it. We could have just parlayed it.
Right.
You could like say the same thing about, man, why didn't I even take the spread? I could have just taken it on the money line. Right? Like the team will either win the game. Like how many times we're basically to make it in a simpler term for people to understand. It doesn't happen often, guys, in the NFL where it's like, yeah, they didn't win the game, but they covered the point spread. Doesn't happen often. It's all in our head. Like, oh, we're getting 6, you're getting 4, you're getting this. Man, the team will win outright or they're going to lose and not cover. You know what I'm saying? Like the point spread really rarely matters, Scott. But in the NBA, it does, if you notice. Because the spreads are so big in the NBA. It matters in the NBA, the spread. Big difference in leagues.
Yeah. I mean, the Eagles last night, a great example, right? I mean, are you more comfortable grabbing the Eagles plus 1.5 or the Eagles plus 7.5? You're like, gee, I'm getting over a touchdown. I'll go with the Eagles. But in the end, they won the game outright. So you're better off putting them, just straight. So, in-game live continues here on the Grid.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. A little bit of everything tonight. Talking a little NBA, a little college basketball, a little college football. We got two back games. One's bad, Akron and Kent State. Although I must say, Gabe, used to be those were the automatic play against, whereas at least this year they're somewhat respectable. They got 3 wins, which is usually, about a 3-year total for both those two teams. So 7-3, Kent State leading Akron. Akron has it at the Kent State.
No, they've been good.
Line. Yeah,
it's not just the wins and losses.
They've been okay.
It's
I would go good.
No, they've been good. Like, hey, they went, they covered when they went to Oklahoma. They, or was it Texas Tech or what? No, it was Texas Tech. Excuse me, Texas Tech. Hey, Texas Tech blowing there. I know Texas Tech didn't care, but nevertheless, they covered. I'm saying, like when you watch them play, it's like they're not out. Like when you watch them on the field, they're not overwhelmed like they have been in past years. Like you see, it's like, they're competing. And look, they have a 7-3 lead right now. I stayed away. There was no way in hell I was laying points with the Zips, and Kent State are better, but I'm not in the habit of taking the Kent State Golden Flashes at a short price on the road either. So I actually passed. I was thinking about the over in that game, but I knew the Ohio-Western Michigan game was kind of the game of the night tonight, and should be noted. So Western Michigan marched down the field on their first drive. They kicked a 46-yard field goal. It's pretty windy there, too. It was a nice kick, and the holder dropped the ball. So it looked like it was going to be a disaster. So when they snapped it, the holder sort of muffed it. It was lying on the turf a bit, but he got it back up, and Buddy sort of, line drived it into the through the uprights. But a 46-yarder good, so they've got a 3-0 lead. But the Bobcats are on the move right now. They're on the 29-yard line of Western Michigan, so this should be a fun game.
Akron scored. By the way, I watched the press conference of Nick Sirianni last night. Now, normally they hold another one the day after. I did not watch today's, but he wasn't specifically asked about he was asked about that 4th down last night that the whole world, even the 4-letter network, was critical of him, going for it on 4th down there. But his first time he was asked about it, Gabe, he said he was comparing it to kicking a field goal. He didn't want to kick a 50-plus yard field goal, so he went for it. And then the second time he was asked about it, he just, reiterated, well, we've hit that before, and when it works, it looks great. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But he never really was asked about punting, which is what we were talking about last night. It should have been the punt versus going for it on 4th down, not a field goal. We understand why you wouldn't want to kick a 50-plus yard field goal. But
they never the number one, the media doesn't like confronting coaches because the coaches then the coach, specifically about a play call in the modern era. I think the same thing too. Like when McDermott, I would point blank just ask him, why did we do this? What we did on 3rd and 7, right? Like why? What was the thought process? They get defensive, Scott. You want to, right? You see it all the time. You want to call the plays? Oh, what network are you with? Like right away, they get like who are you? Like the question. Yeah,
Mike Tomlin was asked about Aaron Rodgers' play.
Dude, somebody asked, dude, that's a reporter's job, Scott. What do you think of Aaron Rodgers' performance tonight? And he looks at you like he's going to get you shot in a parking lot after. Bro, it's a legitimate question. You didn't ask, so hey, you didn't ask a private question. Like, hey, you know what I mean? What did you think of the quarterback's performance tonight? And you get a death glare back? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, the modern coaches, they're not into it. There's no give and take with them. Like, you can ask, like, generally, but if you get specific, they'll get defensive with you right away. And they all say the same damn thing, and it drives me crazy, Scott. Well, if we execute it, hey, we look great. Well, that's not an answer. Like, that's not an answer.
You're expecting
Scott, if I studied more in school, I would have been a better student. Like, okay, thanks for the info.
I rely, I have confidence in my offense. Well, if I'm there, I'm saying, well, what about your defense then? You don't have the confidence in your defense to punt the ball and have your defense stop them from going 90 yards? Yeah, it really is just, it's frustrating, I look back in the days when I was covering games and stuff. I didn't really have that many fights and a couple, you get a couple of ornery head coaches or managers.
The thing is,
but it's different now. You said it. They're so sensitive now. And it wasn't even it's just you explain, just tell me what you would think.
I dealt with like the old crusty types, like Dusty Baker, Frank Robinson, Bobby Cox. the thing is, the older dudes were sort of like mean, but they were like wrestlers. It was sort of like a show to them, right? They would like to put on a show with the Tommy Lasorda. Well, what kind of question is that, eh? But he insults you, but then give you 20 minutes of his time. Like, you know what I mean? Give you all kinds of stuff. He put on a show. Like, he put on a show. Now they just get mad. Who's this guy? Ban him.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. We got the college basketball, some decent games tonight. We got the college football rankings just released about an hour or so, the latest ones anyway. So let's welcome in our good buddy Colby Dant, who joins us all the time here on the grid. Sports Gambling Podcast Network, his show, the College Experience Podcast. What's going on, Colby? How are you tonight?
I'm great, man. Anytime you got, I got 10 TV setup here, so I just load up on the college hoops and college football and whatever else action we can find. So life's good, man. How about you guys?
Cool. Let's start with throw the college football since that came out an hour ago. Then we'll get to all the baskets here. But I tell you, the biggest thing I'm really concerned with, Colby, is not like Ohio State or Indiana. That's all fine and dandy. I want to know who the 5th team or the 5th conference. That's really where the race to me is intriguing about this stuff. I think the other things are all going to work itself out. But the highest Big Four is South Florida out of the American at 24. But give me your impressions overall. Anything that you saw that was crazy or wrong in your world?
I mean, I understand the ACC teams lost this past week, but I just don't. I know you're an Irish fan, man. And I would love for Notre Dame to win the national championship, right? I would love for them to win the national championship. But I think it'd be great to have an independent win the national championship. But I just don't understand how you compare the resumes with either Miami or Louisville. I know Louisville just lost, but they have the same amount of losses and they have better win. Like Notre Dame's only got one good win against USC. So it's like, I understand they've destroyed everyone. I guess you could say Navy, but Navy didn't have their Heisman candidate quarterback, Blake Horvath. So it's like, I just look, Notre Dame looks great.
It's name and reputation.
Yeah,
it's name and
that's
reputation, Colby. Like, and you know what though? They need USC. It would be better for Notre Dame to silence the critics for USC to win out. Right? If USC wins out, they just continue to like boost their spot. So yeah, that's the one that bothers you the most, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's getting in.
Well, that was last week it really bothered me. So I wasn't as surprised this week. But one of the other things, last week we saw like the one of the committee members talk about, well, Virginia and he described, I think, another team as, well, they win close. I just hate how they move the goalpost because Georgia's won close all year. And it's like, well, they get a pass because they're Georgia.
No, it means if you win close in the SEC, you've got balls of steel and you're good in the clutch. Yeah, if you win, that's the way they look at it.
Yeah, I just wish they would just have they should just stick to their format. You know what I mean? Like, so they're basically saying here with Texas at number 10 that they're honoring the loss to Florida as a respectable loss, right? They're saying that's a respectable loss because even though Florida's a 3-win team, guys, that's probably that's probably the worst loss in the whole top 25, by the way, right? So they're saying, okay, but they must be valuing that as a much better win than us, right? So you would think then South Florida's win. Texas lost to Florida, but South Florida beat Florida on the same field, and they're that far back. I just wish they would stick to the same criteria. You know what I mean? Like Miami, Louisville, Notre Dame, they have a lot of common opponents. Virginia too. Can you stick to the same criteria? Because it just seems like to be getting. Yeah.
It seems to be getting more corrupt as we go along, though, doesn't it? From the first playoffs, it was more natural. You just could feel the politics. It's basically the Big Ten and the SEC yelling in a room at everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're at right now.
That's why I'm like a strong advocate. People think I'm crazy. I was good friends with Mike Leach, and Mike Leach, if you had a cocktail with Coach Leach, he would tell you about a 64 team playoff. Now I would never. I wanted 32 always. I thought it kind of does a good job protecting the corruption, right? Like, so it's going to be corrupt. You see the basketball tournament at 68 got North Carolina in, who didn't even belong. They weren't even like metrics wise in the top 5 out. So the corruption's going to be there. So you have to cast a big enough net to kind of counterbalance the corruption. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people think that's crazy. 32 team playoff.
You're right.
64. Yeah.
You go to 16, that just means there's going to be 8. Look, they were talking 16, and the Big Ten and the SEC said, fine, but we're going to be guaranteed 4 spots each then, right? So they want half of it. Yeah. I always thought the solution to save these bowl games as well is exactly, Tom, make it like a 32-team thing. Have the Liberty Bowls as the early round type stuff. Have some of these smaller teams play their way through the bowls, and if they make it through, God bless them. You know what I mean? And then we sort of have a real playoff, and it makes every bowl game count. Suddenly, it's like, it's not just the Liberty Bowl on December 14th or whatever, 15th, or the Hawaii Bowl. Suddenly, it's like, hey, you know what? The winner actually advances and plays, plays Oregon next week or whatnot. Like, yeah, suddenly everybody would feel more involved because this thing is pretty inclusive. Like, you know what I mean? Let's be real. Like, and it's getting worse each year. That's what I'm saying. Like, the politics are rearing their ugly head more and more now.
And it's very corrupt. I mean, look, Ohio State and Michigan won the last 2 national championships, and they played great, but they purposely scheduled incredibly light in the non-con. And you saw Indiana do it last year, and they made the playoffs off of it. So you're not encouraging your teams to get like it's just I just wish they could straighten things out and do a bigger one, and also just stick to your guns. If you're going to honor one win as good, then how is it not a good win for the other team? Yeah.
It's like the cat chasing the tail. You'll never, the Big 12 and the ACC and anyone else can't get into the top 5, top 10 benefit of the doubt because they say they don't have great wins. And then they're going to justify the SEC losses because, well, they're against SEC teams. If you keep on evaluating the SEC and the Big 10 as the be all end all, then you're never going to be able to, break that party because you're not playing SEC teams and Big 10 teams.
And the irony is Notre Dame has a 7-game schedule with the ACC. Yeah. But Notre Dame has a 7-game schedule with the ACC. So it's just Nothing.
So they boost
is
Notre
logical.
Dame, but
Yeah.
screw the ACC team.
Notre Dame, they lost to Miami. I hate to say it. I hate to remind you. They lost to Miami, and yet they're ranked, 5 spaces ahead of Miami? How does that, with the identical, 2 losses? How does that make any sense?
Well, and Miami is set 7th in the ACC. Virginia and Louisville are ahead of them, and Louisville won at Miami wire to wire, never trailed.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I try not to get
doubt,
upset
16.
because they're going to play each other. Like this thing, it'll sort itself out, right? It's still early. It'll sort itself out, and the best teams will. I like as a Michigan fan, just for the record, hypothetically, let's just say Michigan win out and actually beat Ohio State, and USC win out. USC would be the champion. Which is pretty wild.
I've been thinking about this. This could get really dicey here. So Illinois is favored to win out in all their 3 remaining games, right? Illinois has the tiebreaker on USC. USC has the tiebreaker on Michigan. And get this, I think there's a decent shot Oklahoma's 9-3, and Oklahoma beat Michigan as well. So I don't know how you figure it out. I mean, there's a shot Texas could be 9-3. They beat Oklahoma. There's going to be just a couple fan bases that are going to be furious, and it's going to be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but it crossed my mind. I was like, son of a bitch, if they try to keep Michigan out at 10-2, say, wow, you only really have this win against Ohio State. That won't go down well. And I brought it up earlier, Colby. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's a big-time war brewing in the Big Ten right now. And it didn't take long, right? You figure everything would be great. They have these mergers. You have all this money. But for people who don't know, the Big Ten commissioner wants to sell their soul out to a hedge fund, basically. Take $2.4 billion, sell a share of the Big Ten, and Michigan and USC are like, this is like a payday loan. We don't even need the money. What are you doing? We don't want any part of this. We don't want to sell a share. And Michigan said over our dead body that we agree to this, and they basically told Michigan and USC, well, we're doing it anyways. And now there's talk that the USC is thinking about moving to the ACC and saying, suck it, and there's talk of Michigan going independent.
They should go independent. You see how much money Notre Dame made last year?
Yeah, they could get a deal with ABC in a second, Michigan.
We'll talk some hoops when we come back.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between 2 teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. No way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe chatting with Colby Dent, our good buddy that joins us all the time here, talking a little college football there, which can go on forever for sure,
Ooh.
right?
Michigan's losing
college...
right now by 2. I just want to throw that out there. 80-78, Wake Forest, 35 seconds left. So there's still some basketball. Michigan had been up most of the game, but Wake took a late lead. They were up by like 6 or 7. Now Michigan have cut the lead to 2, and we'll see what happens here in the final seconds of this basketball game.
Mm-hmm. We'll keep an eye on that. How about Kentucky, Louisville, Cole? Gabe and I both like Kentucky. You know, they're getting 6.5, but they are down 14. I must say, about 3.5 minutes left to go first half, getting 13.5 now.
Yeah, no, I went in on Kentucky too, just knowing that I think they've won 6 of 7. I knew this Louisville team, they spent up, and so did Kentucky. So I was just like, okay, we're going to get probably a really good game here. There's a lot of time left, so hopefully we can battle back into this. But I'm with you. I'm on Kentucky. I took the points. I didn't take the money line. I just thought, Louisville is due to win one of these. This rivalry is as good as it gets. Remember a couple of years ago, there was like an old folks home where like 2 90-year-old guys got into a fist fight over the Kentucky.
This isn't good.
Louisville
It's a 14, 15-point game now. Just moved to 14. Yeah, 46-32. Yeah. There was a lot of smack talk this week, but one of the guys on Kentucky called him little brother, which was like, that's not good. Don't poke the bear any more than you have to going in there. So, there's still basketball left. Wow, the in-game total, guys, 186.5 now.
Yeah. That's not.
Texas
I don't know if
Tech,
that's
Illinois is going off the board now. It just tipped off. Texas Tech at Illinois. Illinois 5.5-point favorites.
That game's fascinating. I had the Illini guys. So, I got a chance to go to these media days and talk to a lot of the coaches. And one of the biggest takeaways I got in general with college hoops was how many pro-European players are in the sport. And when you look at Illinois specifically, it's like you're playing a all-star team in Europe. Like there's not many American guys on their roster, and they all came in, and it's like they're older than everybody else. Like they're a very old team, and they've played very at a very high level. Now I still am getting myself educated on which leagues are good, because you would break down some of these teams, and you're like, they brought in this guy from Lithuania who averaged 35 a game. But then you find out the league's terrible. So you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't put value into that. But Illinois is one. I went on them just because that home crowd is great. And then that team is old. Well, I was impressed. They haven't played great competition yet. But to me, they kind of went out of their way more than any other school, I think, in the nation to roster all-stars.
It's been that way for a few years. Yeah. It's like playing the Lithuania national team. You're right. When you play Illinois.
Yeah. That's the only way they can recruit these kids.
I had a hard time. We did like a preview on that team. I couldn't pronounce anybody's name. I was just like, but I think they are the better team. Texas Tech is good though, but I just think with that home crowd behind them and then their age, I think they're older than Texas Tech. So that was my real reason.
Pretty good one with Gonzaga and Creighton. I did watch the Zags the other day, and I don't know if they're as good. They're ranked.
Oh, Michigan tie it, guys. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Michigan tie it at the buzzer, 80-80. We're going to overtime in Detroit, not Ann Arbor. This game is in Detroit, which I've always thought Michigan should do more of, actually. So they're playing at the home of the Pistons tonight. So, Michigan and Wake Forest going to overtime, tied at 80.
A lot of teams are doing that because so in the Ken Palm rankings and then some of the other analytics, it doesn't count as a home game. You get like a full more data point.
A little bit more of a bump. Yeah, you get a little bit more of a bump in your net rating.
So you're seeing a lot of teams are doing this. Wake played one in Greensboro.
Yeah, Duke played in Charlotte or someone. North Carolina, Charlotte the other night. Yeah.
How about Creighton and Gonzaga?
I like the Zags here. Creighton, as much as like their program's been great over the past few years, they're just replacing a ton. They finally lost Cockbrenner, and going all the way out to the Kennel is that's a trip. I know the Zags. I don't have them as like a Final Four team or anything. You noted that they weren't looking great the other night. I still think they're the play here because I think McDermott's figuring out his team at Creighton. This is the least amount of production back he's had in a while. So I took a shot on the Zags laying the point there.
7-3 Bobcats now. So the Bobcats scored a touchdown. What do you think of that game, Colby, tonight? I'm on Western Michigan, senior night, final home game of the year, but I don't like betting against the Bobcats. It's pretty much the most consistent MAC program, going back since the Frank Solich days. They just consistently go like 9-3 every year, this team.
Yeah, I was with you, though, man. And Western Michigan just had a big play. They're in territory now, like 35.
Yeah, 35-yard line, exactly.
I took Western.
Yeah, last
Ohio's
home game of the year, senior night.
Yeah, and they're off the Battle of the Bricks rivalry game, Ohio against Miami, Ohio. They barely won that game. It was a great game. So Kalamazoo, was hosting Western Michigan, had the bye week. They had 2 weeks to focus. I always kind of thought the tragic magic situation too with the passing of Cowboys. So I just thought they were gonna, go all in effort wise because he was coaching.
Yeah, Marshawn Leland was a Western Michigan Bronco. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
So,
thought.
I went with the Broncos there. Should be a good one though. First place on the line.
How about Ohio basketball? You want to bet Ohio tonight against St. Mary's, one of my all-time under teams?
Yeah, and I should preface this. St. Mary's has made me look like a fool so far in the college basketball season because I've gone against them twice. It's because they play so slow. It's almost like Tony Bennett when he was at UVA. Yeah. Like I love taking the big spreads with the dog because they play so slow. They limit possessions. It's almost like a triple option team in football. So I'm loading up. I think Ohio's a pretty good team. I think they're a contender for the MAC. They're getting like 18 points. Give me them to stay in this game. They're not going to win it, but they'll stay. They'll lose by 12.
Yeah, 17.5 in a game like that is like 22.5 in any other normal game against St. Mary's. Yeah, one of my absolute always under bet on St. Mary's. Colby.
Western Michigan goes for it on 4th and 7 and gets the first down, keeps the sticks moving. Let's go Broncos.
There you go. Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Look for the College Experience Podcast with our good buddy Colby Dan. Thanks, Colby.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada and Toronto and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe closing out hour number 1. Thanks again, Colby Dan, the College Experience podcast. Checking out your favorite little podcast stores. Just at the half, I will say Louisville 53, Kentucky 46. That is, yes, at the half, 99 points. They're giving you 191 and a half, and I had the game on here, Gabe. And listen, you know it's trouble when the officials are huffing and puffing. there was one guy. You could see, and they even had a shot of him from behind. It was that obvious that he was just exhausted going because they're just going up and down the court, up and down the court.
It's not an easy job.
It's not. Believe me, I do a little officiating, and I guarantee you those officials are saying, "Man,
we talked about the size of the court." And the ice and stuff, yeah, that court is that's a run back and forth. People don't really realize
it's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger.
People think it's like, oh, get back on defense. Like, yeah, it's further than it looks. Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
that's a tough job, man. Like, you imagine too, like the NBA is so fast. You know what I mean? Like with the hands and the paint and stuff like that. But imagine, Scott, you're dealing with Louisville and Kentucky kids. Like, you got a bunch of track kids like running up and down the court.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an easy night for the referees.
Every bucket I'm seeing is a slam dunk because they're just going up and down the court. It's not even like NBA threes. They're not. No, it's up and down the court. I did some. I do a little AAU refereeing, and one of the gyms we use out here, Gabe, is a community college, Nassau Community College, right? And you get on that gym and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a long night. And that court is a good, like 10 feet, at least, bigger than like high school gyms, 15 feet. It is like, yeah. And when you got to go up and down, for basically 20 straight minutes, yeah, those guys are going to be dying. So although I don't know if they can continue with that pace. I will say 99 points.
That's the problem.
Somewhere along the line, right? Kentucky's got to be saying to Mark Kobe, he's a pretty good head coach. You got to go under then. Right now, right? I mean, he gave up 53 points. He's got to be yelling and screaming at his guys. Listen, we can't give up 53
or almost
points.
Just wait.
Again, right?
Yeah, or almost just wait for it to come down again, and then if you want to bet the over. But I regret not betting the over, but I don't want to chase it. It's just so high. I almost jumped in at 186 and a half, but it locked up on me. I didn't. You can't make this up right now in a Michigan game. So Michigan are up 84-82. We're in overtime. But Michigan had the ball. It's like early season, only their second game, Scott. But like the point guard basically inbounded the ball from like the side of the court. And buddy on Michigan that he was passing it to wasn't looking. And it literally bounced off the back of his head right into Wake Forest's hands. Like, it's like one of those, you got to be kidding me. Like, really? In overtime, you're going to do this? Like, it was like, and they just scored off of it. Like, it took them like, it was loose ball, blah, blah, but they ended up scoring off the damn possession. So, got a tie game right now. So, we got a close one in Detroit. But, man, these basketball teams, man, with these big point spreads, it's hard laying that many points, Scott, this early in the season. I didn't understand why Michigan were 15-point favorites. Florida were big favorites tonight against Florida State, and that game's pretty close, too.
How about this one? A little bit off the beaten radar, but Boston College, I think it was 17.5 against Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut, I think, just won 60-59. My kid goes to school in Connecticut, right? You got basically two schools. You got Connecticut, you got Yale. And then there's some smaller, but point is, so I'm in Connecticut all the time. I don't even know where Central Connecticut is. That school is so small. And they're beating, I think, they beat Boston College.
They're getting better, Scott. They're getting better at that school, at sports. Like, they look at their football team, too. Their football team hung like a ton of points. They hung with Connecticut, actually, when they played UConn. Central, there's been a few times this year where I'm like, look at Central Connecticut scoring 29 points. Like, there must be a little bit of money coming into this school. I don't know what their boosters are, but, there is, though. You'll notice, like, you brought up New Haven the other day, too. This is a new school that they're popping up in the sort of in this D1 sort of like market. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who they play the other night? I think they played UConn, actually. I saw the gym. Hell, like 9,000 people. Oh, it was Penn State was coming to town. That was the one. Thank you. It was Penn State. Yeah. They showed the gym. It holds 900 people, guys. There was like 900, like, you can squeeze a couple more people in standing room type thing. But like they were playing football.
Home game against Penn State.
Yeah, it's strange. Hey, normally, like the big schools are like, no, we're not playing in front of 1,000 people. We're not doing that. I guess
So
Penn State needed a date to fill.
I guess. How bad is Boston College sports, though, right? Their football program is an embarrassment, and now they're losing to Central Connecticut in college basketball.
Be a big win for Central Connecticut. That'd be a fun bus ride home with these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, hour number 2 coming up next.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games, and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott and Gabe checking out a little bit of everything tonight. A little NBA, a little hockey, college football, college basketball. New rankings coming out for the college football bowl pool. We talked about that with Colby Dan. George Kurtz, our good buddy. We'll talk a little hockey, a little NFL with him at the bottom of this hour. Haven't really touched too much on NBA. We brought it up a little bit. Knicks, I'll tell you what, the Knicks are a covering machine, beating the Grizz by 22 at home. Knicks are 5-0 straight up. I think 5-0 against the spread. They may have had one game they didn't cover, but they're playing, very, very quietly. The Knicks are, kind of flexing their muscles a little bit. Nets, I know it's hard to lay 20 the double digits, right? But there they are, Gabe, again, down 11 points against Toronto. And these are all third quarter scores. And then maybe the marquee matchup of the night, Golden State at OKC, 18-point lead by OKC. So that, again, I hate to keep on poking holes at the NBA, but you want to sit down, you want to watch a good, Golden State OKC game, right? And you got yourself a 20-point game midway through the second quarter. It's almost unwatchable.
That's why, college, if you look at the college games, 84-84, Michigan, Wake Forest, 30 seconds in overtime. 74-72, Florida over Florida State, 16 seconds left in the game. Texas Tech, Illinois, 18-18, 11 minutes where we played, 11 minutes left in the first half. Very competitive college games, and similar situation with the football world, right, where the NFL has kind of been lacking on Sundays, and the college football has been more entertaining on Saturdays. It's the problem, like you said, with the NBA, you can't even get your hopes up for like a good time matchup because, like, will it be? You know what I'm saying? I guess you can say the same thing for the NFL right now. But, yeah, the NBA is kind of just there to bet on right now. It's hard to get excited about this league.
Yeah. I played your guy, Scotty Barnes, over 19.5. He has 11 points. I figured it'd be a high scoring 125 or so points for Toronto. So he's got 11.
He's
They're
on the
giving you
court.
17.5. He's on the court. All right.
One thing with Scotty Barnes, he's pretty good in the fourth quarter at finishing things off, Scott. You know what I mean? Like, you bet his props, and you're like, oh, man, he's at 13, 14, but he needs to get 18 or 19 or whatnot. Like, he closes strong. Right? He closes strong in games. Like, they get him the ball. The only thing is the Raptors are pretty diverse, right? They got 3 guys. They're the only team in the NBA that have 3 scorers of 20 or more points. And more, don't forget, Ingram didn't play last year for them, right? He was acquired, but they didn't play him. He was hurt, and they said, whatever. They were trying to tank anyways. So they said, whatever. We'll wait till next year. Ingram's becoming kind of the guy. Right, like, he's taking a lot of shots, and they're kind of cool with it. Like, they're feeding Ingram a lot, so that's the one thing with Barnes. But Barnes is very consistent, Scott. So I think you should be able to get there.
All right. Any interest? I know it's a bad game, but it's starting here, so I'll just throw it out. Any interest? Indiana laying 2.5 against Utah. Pacers 1-9. I didn't think they would be this bad. I mean, they still got some players. They got Siakam. The Naismith is still on there. Toppin, Obi Toppin's still there. I mean,
you go from the finals to this. No, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to show some discipline. That's something I don't often do in my betting career, Scott. But I don't know about you, what you felt about this one. Whatever. Joel Embiid wasn't playing. Okay, I took the Sixers. I took the Sixers against the Celtics. And it's 45-37 right now, so let's not pat ourselves on the back too much, but just sort of checking in early on it, before it was tied or whatever. So it's the first time I see now that the Sixers are up by 8, so you jump on the Sixers as well tonight. Like, they're kind of used to playing without Joel Embiid, and Maxey has become the guy on this team. Yet, dude, like, people were taking Boston, Scott. I got the Sixers at plus 2.5 right at tip-off.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that line to begin with. They were only favored when he was supposed to be playing. This morning, they were only favored by 1.5. So I flipped a little bit, obviously, but it wasn't
anymore, people. They're living in the past.
Not. Yeah. I didn't get why they were basically picking him at home. Listen, a week and a half ago, Philadelphia was playing Chicago with the winner having the best record in the Eastern Conference. And now all of a sudden they're picking him at home, basically.
They've lost 3 of the last 4. I get it. That game against Chicago was frustrating. I was on them. Can you believe the Bulls came back?
That big lead. Yeah.
Oh, my God. The reality will kick in for the Chicago Bulls. Trust me.
Yeah.
As we go on. Reality will catch. Give props to Giddey, man. Giddey, they're getting Giddey with it. He's he's carrying his basketball team right now. Nets are sort of hanging around here too with the Raptors. Like I said, the Raptors are good. Like, they're better. I think they're 5-5. So I can't tell you they're great. They did stumble out of the gate. I think they were 1-3 at one point or whatnot. But, like, they're kind of coming together, the Raptors. But, are they going to win by double digits on the road? Like, even against the Nets, Scott, it's a tough task. It's a big ask.
It is. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They got up by 11, and now the Nets scored. Like, they've never been up by 18 or 20 or something like that. It's always just sort of been the Raptors are up by 8 now. Like, they've been up all night for the most part, but they haven't delivered that knockout punch.
And I was going to say that you really need to be up 18-19 to cover the 11.5 point spread. Because the team that's hanging around, if they keep on hanging around 11, 10, 12, 13, whatever, they always make a run late in the game. You got to put that team away and be up by 18-19. So,
Scott, we've got a final in Detroit. We've got a final in Detroit. The Michigan Wolverines survive. 85-84 final score. Michigan wins. Wake Forest got the last shot off, and it was partially blocked. Man, it looked like it was going in. Was this blocked by Michigan? Man, this kid came flying in. No, it wasn't blocked. Man, it was a frenetic finish. Like, Wake Forest just missed a shot, like at the buzzer type thing on a layup. So Michigan survived 85-84, but Wake Forest covered the number, 15.5-point underdogs. Game goes over.
Florida's leading by 3. 9 seconds left against Florida State. I wonder if it's just going to be a struggle this year. Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be a struggle this year for Florida. They got a lot of guys coming back from last year's title team. They do.
Yeah.
The backcourt isn't. But I just wonder if, They put it
also
all
lost
together late
guys.
in the season. Yeah.
You
They're
know,
backwards.
it's new chemistry, right? Yeah, the Clayton, the new chemistry. I don't think they're the team to beat. I don't think they're repeating. No. You know what I mean? We'll see, like you said, whether they become a fade and they're just sort of like bad, or not bad, but like overpriced and average. But I agree with you. They're more of a fade than a bet on.
Yeah.
Well, you bet against them with North Florida, so yeah, you're looking to fade them.
I did.
You took North Florida.
Yeah, if I'm willing to bet against them against North Florida.
I took Arizona in the first night, too, of the year, too. I took Arizona. I was like, yeah, give me Arizona against them. Like, I'll fade them. So, yeah, I'm more of a fade Florida guy as well so far. As we proceed. Still very early.
Good little.
It seems, though, Scott, that laying a lot of points is dangerous. Right? Like we talked about, like Florida, Florida didn't cover. Remember when I took Villanova and they covered, right?
Yeah.
The other dog covered. Both the dogs covered that night, that first night of the year, whoever the other game was.
Yeah,
it was Arizona. It was Arizona, Florida. Excuse me. It was Arizona, Florida.
Right.
So, look, Michigan tonight, 15.5-point favorites. They don't cover. Florida Gators, big favorites tonight. They're not going to cover against Florida State. A lot of these so-called sort of bigger time teams, they're laying too many points, and the dogs seem to be covering, Scott, in college basketball. If we just went off the top of our head with like 5 games.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what we see in college football, Gabe. They just these analysts that rank these teams and whatever the odds maker, they don't know. They don't know, just like they don't know in college football with all these NIL deals and transfers and everything else. New kids all coming in, like Colby was talking about with Creighton. They got 5 new guys. Drake is the same thing. They got 5 new starters, and yet they're ranking them on what they did last year. When in reality, it's like no, there's no saying those 5 new starters are going to be any good at Creighton or Drake. So it's a crapshoot the first couple of weeks. It really is.
Yeah, and the media never admits they're wrong. The teams are bad, right? It's like the college football polls. What's wrong with Texas? I don't know. They've only lost 2 games. You guys were the ones that anointed them. Like, not them. You did. Like, what's wrong?
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between 2 teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid, hour number 2. Taking a peek, Scott and Gabe. How about a little NHL tonight as the Bruins going for the home-and-home sweep against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I tell you, Boston's won 6 in a row. I didn't see this coming at all. They started off halfway decent, then they went into a major funk. And I said, all right, that's going to be the Boston Bruins. And, just like that, they turned it around. They're going for their 7th straight win. Like I said, a sweep at Toronto. They won in Toronto over the weekend. They're leading 4-3 early third period, although the Maple Leafs did just score. It was 4-2 a second ago, but now it is 4-3. So maybe a little flyer on Toronto, plus almost 3-1 on FanDuel anyway. Washington's leading at Carolina. Didn't see that one coming, although I did think that line was suspiciously low, Gabe. Only minus 165 Carolina at home, going for their 5th straight win. Caps have lost 5 of 6. Whatever magic they had last year, clearly they don't have it this year. I thought that was low, and lo and behold, there's Washington leading it 3-1 midway through the third period. Go Flames.
I am surprised. Listen, I think Carolina, I'm not going to say they're overrated. They're really good. But I don't look at Carolina as legitimate cup contenders like a lot of people do all the time. Carolina are a regular season team. They outwork you, they outgrind you, but there's a ceiling to what they do. I've talked about the Hurricanes in the past that if you'll notice, star players don't want to play there. They had Rantanen there, and they offered him like a max deal. He was like, no, right, I want to leave. Wetzel was there. Same thing, Scott, right? They keep trading for these star players and offering them money. And the weather's nice. The taxes aren't that bad. You can play golf, whatever. Like the Hurricanes, you know what I mean? There's a lot,
fans love them there, right?
Yeah, they
love
the Caniacs. It's like a hardcore fan base. Yeah, they play heavy metal in the arena. It's like lively and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's a good, you win too. It's a good organization. Their coach wears you out. Like, Brindamore's a hard ass. So, like, you don't put up big numbers because you got to play team concept and all that type stuff. So, I kind of think when you get to the playoffs, you kind of need some star players, right? And you can only get by with hard work for so long, and it works in a regular season. But I'm not going to lie, I fell for it tonight, Scott, because I don't think much of the Capitals either. So, I fell right into the trap of, oh, look, Hurricanes are only minus 150 at home against the Capitals. Yeah. We did give everybody the St. Louis Blues in the opening pickoff, though. And we're off and running. The St. Louis Blues lead the Calgary Flames 3-0 right
just
now.
Scored, yeah. It was 2-0.
And Scott, think about this too. Yeah, now it's 3-0. And think about this, guys. I brought it up when I gave the pick. Calgary Flames have been shut out in 2 straight games already. Like, we're going on 8 periods now of them being shut out. 8 periods without scoring a goal. I mean, sounds like the New York Rangers at home. But this is like, but Calgary's got problems, Scott. They do. They work hard. They deserve better. Like, if you watch them play, they just don't have any players. They've got a bunch of dudes, and they do their best, but they're really overwhelmed. Listen, I'm being nice to them. I mean, they should be better than they are. I mean, they're really, really falling apart here. And the vultures are going to start circling around their roster soon. Right? There's going to be that, like, what the hell are you hanging on to these players for? Their goalie is really good. Dustin Wolf is like, if it wasn't for Dustin Wolf, they would lose like 9-0 every night, this team. But they've been shut out now 2 games in a row and are being shut out tonight. I've got a bunch of hockey picks. We're coming up, actually, 9:30. What's the game at 9:30 here? There's one going off the board.
Ducks in Colorado.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you talked about it. Ducks are plus 210 on the road. Man, I get the feel this is like an early statement game, right? You got a Colorado Avalanche. They've lost once. You got the Ducks that are rolling here. I'm with you in that you're getting the Ducks at plus 1.5, minus 120. It's a very good number. This way, if this game goes to overtime, we're locked in and we've got ourselves a win. And let's bank that the Ducks do not get blown out in this game. And considering how the Ducks score and do give up goals, I'm going to play over 1.5 in the first period. Over 1.5 in the first period. And, guys, normally over 1.5, normally it's like minus 125, minus 130. It was minus 150. It's up to minus 160 right now. Over 1.5 goals in the first period. But we see the hot starts that the Ducks get. I'd be shocked, Scott, if there wasn't a couple of goals scored in the first 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah. Colorado's, they've owned this series as most people would, right? So yeah, this is a good example. You throw that stuff out the window, right? Because the Ducks are not the same team that they've been. They're really good now, right? So, but they've lost 7 of 8. I was going to play a Nathan McKinnon, prop. He was minus 260 to get a point tonight, which is just crazy. Almost 3-1. But he leads the NHL in goals, leads the NHL in points. He's been as good as he's been. He's been even better this year, believe it, if that's possible, right? So he's got a gazillion points.
He's on a mission.
Clearly, right? And Leo Carlson for Anaheim, the casual fan probably doesn't know him. He's second in the league in points. He was only minus 156, though. So I put him in a parlay. Hopefully they both score.
McKinnon has been a shots on goal machine. The problem is the odds makers, he's a star player, so they've adjusted for him. So it's 4.5 plus 125 to the over. Last game 4. Yeah, last game 4. Game before that 6. Game before that 6. Game before that 4. And who are they playing tonight? You're playing against a team that plays very offensive-minded hockey. This is one of these nights where McKinnon could have 6-7 shots on goal tonight. I think it's worth a roll of the dice. You're getting plus 125 for him to get 5 shots on goal. And, there's the alternate line, too. Let me see what it is, shots on goal. If we want to go over, let's say, over 3.5. What's the minus on this for let's see. McKinnon, Nate McKinnon. That's minus 200. Ooh. They really put us off, huh?
Yeah, they really.
Yeah, if you want to do it, yeah. They're like, no. You're not getting away with 4 shots on goal. Like, it's like minus 200.
Nobody bets hockey, but we're not making it that easy for you, though, for those that do.
Like I said, Nate McKinnon, people do, right? He's a star player, so casuals bet his props. He is a prop machine. The guy's on fire.
He is, yeah. He's got points in 9 straight games. Carlson has points in 10 straight games. A little bit of parlay, you get yourself even money. So, in-game live continues here on the grid.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling, competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe got a little bit of everything tonight, including some pretty good college basketball games. We'll start there. Louisville leading by 12 over Kentucky. They've had basically a 6 to 12 point lead, just kind of hanging around. They've started the second half now. Pace hasn't slowed down. In fact, they've increased the over-under to 193.5. It was 191.5 at halftime. So I still I wouldn't bet the under, and you can't bet the over. I mean, I wouldn't think so at that kind of a number. So that's almost unbettable. Illinois, Texas Tech, another really good game. I like this Tech team. I'm kind of riding Texas Tech this year. I got a ticket on them 100-1 to win the college football championship, which is halfway decent. And the college basketball team is not bad as well. But they are down 7, getting 7.5. That was the original line, and then it dropped all the way to 3.5. As the day continued, everybody was on Tech, and the over/under is 165.5 in that one. The other one, I was going to throw a little flyer on. I didn't, but just one of those underdogs we talked about earlier. Who was it? Central Arkansas. They were getting like 35 against Calipari in Arkansas. They're only down 17. They're hanging around. I should have pulled the trigger. They're getting 25.5 now. I don't know if I would necessarily do that, but that was one I was considering. Another big dog today that's covering.
I did take the over in the Kentucky-Louisville game. I couldn't resist.
Good for you.
Yeah, 193.5. The thing is, we're already at 120 right now. There's still like 16 minutes, a little under 16 minutes left in this basketball game. The key is, though, guys, when you're betting these in-game overs, you've got to know the foul situation, right? And, how quickly are these teams going to be into the bonus, et cetera. And, man, they've racked up fouls, man. You got 7 fouls already by Kentucky and 6. There's going to be free throws, essentially, like real soon for the rest of this half. And, once you're into the bonus, man, that's where you want the points. It's better, you got to hope that the guys hit the free throws when they get on the line. But that's something I always look at when I'm betting an in-game college basketball game. What's the foul situation like, and how soon are these teams going to be into the bonus? And these teams are going to be into the bonus like for, 12, 13 minutes, the final 12, 13 minutes of the basketball game, essentially. So it's going to be a lot of free throws. And, there's no reason why we can't get there. Just dipped to 191.5 right now. But I got at 190.5. So I got a bad number because they haven't scored, of course, since I clicked it. But how about this, though, Scott? Kentucky have cut the lead. I thought we were getting closer. Now we're at 69-54 again. So it's just they can't get over the hump.
Yeah. They get to that point, then they cut it to around 8 or so, and then Louisville goes off on another little run. But that is true with the foul. It's not a bad thought because, it's not necessarily, okay, you're going to be going to the free throw line because you're shooting. That's no matter what. It's, you battle for a rebound, and the guy gets called for it over a back. All right, there's 2 free throws.
Yeah, every time you get touched.
Clock, no offense.
Mid-court,
every time
you got hit. Yeah.
Mid-court, go to the line. So not a bad thought there. Ole Miss and Memphis tied at 14 early on first half there. Virginia leading
the
Hampton.
Football game just went to the half. 7-3. So Ohio does nothing with it. They get the ball in midfield, and so we got a real defensive battle. Listen, Western Michigan have one of the better defenses in the MAC, right? So I'm not surprised. I was hoping that Western Michigan would be able to give us more than 3 points as someone that's on the Broncos, but 7-3 at the half. Ohio are now 3.5-point favorites. I got a 33.5 for the total. So, in other words, 24 points would get us there if you bet the over. I'm not so sure there's going to be 24 points in the second half of this game. I'm going to have to take a wait and see approach on this one still. Let it come down a little bit.
Yeah. Because the weather, there's no weather. It's just legitimate bad offense and good defense. So, barring an overtime, I don't know if I see 24 more points, to tell you the truth.
And the other game, there's points going on. Wow, 31.5 even, huh? It's not that much of a difference when you look at the scores, but it's still less. But the other game's different. You got Kent State and Akron, 2 bad teams. They can air it out without consequences. You know what I mean? They're having more fun, type per se. It's like, whatever. They're not going to a bowl game. It is what it is. They're just playing. Ohio and Western Michigan are both 4-1 in conference play. Like, they're playing for a spot to the conference championship game, essentially, here. Right? Yeah. So the stakes are a lot higher, and they're both being very cautious about it.
Yeah. Akron could get to a bowl game, believe it or not. You know that they're four.
Yeah, if
I
they
didn't
win
play
out.
because it was a big number. They got to win tonight, which is
I was
possible.
sort
Then
of
they got.
dismissing them. I'm sorry. I'm
Bowling
sorry to
Green.
dismiss Akron. Yeah.
You give respects to Akron. Then they got Bowling Green next week. 3-7 Bowling Green.
My boy Eddie
Akron,
George.
Maybe Bowling. Yeah.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling, competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada and Toronto and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Gabe checking out some hockey with our good buddy George Kurtz, Sports Grid host. You see it here all the time on the Grid. What's going on, George? How are you on this Tuesday evening?
Doing well, right? It's a little weird. The Islanders don't play tonight, so there's nothing really for me to root for as far as my fandom is concerned tonight, but still plenty of hockey going on.
Yeah. Gabe and I both got caught up into Carolina. We got suckered in, laying only $150, $165 or so at home against Washington, and they're down 3-1. So we'll start there. Did you have anything on the Panthers and Hurricanes rather, and more importantly, would you bet them? Maybe get 2.5 goals at plus 106, hoping you don't get an empty netter by Washington.
I don't think I am on the Hurricanes as well here. That's where I was nodding my head, so I took them as well. Yeah. I'm on the under also here, so I guess either way I'm gonna. If I double down, it means I can't win my under. So I think I was going to take it. I'll take the split here. It seems like a lot of my choices tonight. I'm splitting games here. Same thing with Dallas and Ottawa, where I'm on. I guess Stars are still tied at 2. I need them to win, and I'm also on the over there, and that's not happening. So I think they're in overtime.
I can't call you out, Kurtz. I can't call you Captain Chuck. I fell for the Canes tonight, too, which I'm ashamed that I did. But that short price reeled me in. What did you do with the Ducks and the Avalanche? We haven't talked about the Kraken game yet. You got the Canucks coming up, too. But what did you do with the Ducks and the Avalanche game? I'm playing over 1.5 in the first period, and I'm playing the Ducks plus 1.5 in the game.
Yeah, I told I was on Kevin Walsh earlier. Said the same thing here. I'm sort of becoming a Duck fan. All right, they play exciting hockey. They're not the Ducks of old. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Long season. We'll see how it is. But they're turning that corner. All right, they're exciting. They're fun to watch here. I know Colorado's one of the best teams, and I do worry about teams going into Denver, the thin air and all that. But I'm with you on all counts here. I took the Ducks. I think it was plus 215 or plus 235. One of those when I took it here. I'm not saying they're going to win. The price I thought was just too good for a Ducks team that's not the Ducks of the past couple of years. I think they're a decent team. I think they've got a shot here. And I'm on the over for the period. I'm on the over for the game as well here. I think goals are coming. I haven't decided who I'm going to take for any time goals here, but I'm going to have a couple of those as well. I'm sure McKinnon will be one of them, maybe Carlson.
Here come the Calgary Flames. Wow, it's 3-0 for the St. Louis Blues. And now it's 3-2. The Flames have scored 2 straight times. I would be more concerned, but Bet365 pays you when your hockey team is leading by 3 goals. So I've already been paid. So I'm like, whatever. Like,
man.
Yeah,
I wish they were in New York. I really wish they were in New York.
You like this guy. You get 3 goals in hockey, and it happens a lot, guys, where it does, you know? And you can play with our money, too. I could jump back in on the game now if I wanted to or whatever. Like, so baseball is 5 runs, which comes into play also. Your team gets up by 5 runs in baseball. Basketball, it's 20 points. Soccer, it's 3 goals as well. So, yeah, they have each sport, this sort of little thing. It's money line only, not in-game. You got to bet it before the game, etc. But it is a perk that'll save you a couple of times a week if you bet a lot.
Yeah. Boy, they must have stats, right, guys, that say, teams don't blow 3-0 leads, so it's worth it for us to give you your money so you could rebet it versus hope that the team comes back.
Bet365 is the biggest book in the world, and the CEO makes $380 million a year.
Yeah, so
I guarantee you, you just
named
it. You just nailed it, Scott. I guarantee you that their study said, you know what? It's better to pay these people. They'll just bet it again. Right? We'll make more. We make more by giving their money back in game right away for the bet than we do hanging on to it as opposed to the comeback. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. It's pretty clear that the math works out better for them.
Yeah.
How
about Winnipeg and Vancouver?
Just won.
Ooh, okay.
I think it's Rupe Hintz who scores in overtime, I believe. They're showing the replay 17 times. The puck is in the net. I don't know if they're reviewing something here. Could be goalie interference, I guess. Nice. So that's a cash. I'll take that. Like I said, that's a split for me. So I had the over in that game, which is what I do in a lot of Ottawa Senators games. As for Vancouver, sorry, Gabe, I'm going to go with the Jets here. I know Demko was back tonight for the Canucks. He was had the weekend. Pretty much they said he had it off, but he had some kind of injury there. So it's more than maintenance when you're missing 2 games here. I'll take the Jets to sort of break their little problems they're having there. I just think they're the better teams. But I think the Jets tonight did not touch the total.
I'm going to be on the Vancouver Canucks just because they're such a win one, lose one, sort of back and forth type of team. But I'm always apprehensive when Demko comes back. But I mean, you know how many times we've heard this story, man, since I've been to Vancouver? Thatcher Demko returns to the lineup tonight, like 17 times, man. Like, he's always injured, this guy. So it's like, all right. Yeah, so you know what I mean? There's always that worry, Kurt's like, all right, he's back, but he hasn't stopped the puck in 6 days or whatever.
He always has that red cross next to his name. Always has that red cross. I got to see what the injury is. Pain in the ass.
And it's always like, sometimes he plays well in the first game back, but other times he doesn't. It's like, well, he hasn't played in a week, right? And so it's like, but because Lankinen is pretty good, right? Lankinen is good. Yeah, like for a backup goalie, like Lankinen could be a starter. Like Lankinen's a starter, good goalie. So, there's not really like this, Demko's back, where suddenly you have a good goalie. He is a spiritual leader on the team, and guys like him and all that, but man, is he hurt a lot. But what about the Columbus-Seattle game, guys? You got a Columbus Blue Jacket team that's been on the road for a while now. They've been on the road since November the 2nd. It started out with your Islanders, Kurtz, where they lost 3-2. Then they went to Calgary. They lost 5-1. Then they went to Vancouver. They lost 4-3. Then they went to Edmonton. They lost 5-4 the other night. That was last night, Scott. We're going back-to-back here. Yeah. So they're going back-to-back, played in overtime. You played a 5-game road trip here through Western Canada, like not geographically. Like there ain't no bus rides here, man. Like this is a bunch of pain-in-the-ass type of travel that they've gone through. Wrapping it up in Seattle, these guys just want to go home here, man. I like the Seattle Kraken tonight, guys.
Do you think it's? I mean, I'm on the Kraken as well for all the reasons you mentioned here, and I always worry about teams on back-to-back nights against a team that's fresh here. But I mean, it's the line in my mind stinks. I thought it'd be much higher than minus 125. That's my problem.
Like a trap.
Right? What do they know that we don't know here? It just smells here.
It's like the Hurricanes, Scott. Yeah, they're begging us to bet on the Kraken tonight. You know what it is? No one bets on the Kraken. Who likes the Kraken outside of Seattle?
Yeah.
Who bets on the Seattle Kraken? Like they're trying to just get action on the game.
Maybe.
Yeah. Must be.
I just I don't know. I bet Kraken. I'm not
they are 7-4.
I want to bet more on it.
Yeah, but they're not even like, dude, they're 12-3 on the puck line, this team this year. Seattle are good this year so far.
Yeah.
They're a decent squad. I wouldn't call it great, but they're a decent squad.
Yeah. Maybe the 6.5. Are they going to get the 7 goals? I think Seattle wants to play, lower scoring. And Columbus is out of gas after playing last night in overtime.
But the thing is, Columbus aren't great defensively,
though. Goals. No, I'm not going to take the over. I'm not going to take the under either. I'm going to leave that alone. Maybe an in-game opportunity, depending on how it looks here. Although, as Gabe's hinting at, I think my eyes will be more on the Colorado Avalanche Ducks game than it will be on Kraken and Blue Jackets.
You know what could be an under, but let me see what the number is now. It's a ballsy pick. Because it's 5.5. No, that was 5.5. They made it 6. I see a 6 night right now. The Jets and the Canucks. You got Demko here. The Jets are, the Jets want to tighten things up. These teams don't like each other. They're rivals. You got Hellebuck versus Demko tonight. The only problem is every Canuck game goes over. I'm sure. I don't know if you noticed, Kurtz. Like from a trend perspective. Yes, we should talk about it. Yeah, it's crazy, man. The Vancouver Canucks on the season, guys, it's insane. They're 11-4, Scott, to the over on the season. 15 games, they're 11-4.
Minus 130 to the over, 5.5.
That's not.
I'm just saying it's ballsy, but it feels like to me that this is a 3-2 type game, guys.
Winnipeg's, every time I bet the over, they go under, and every time I bet the under, they go over. Yeah, it's one of those goofy.
What's Winnipeg on the season? 7 and 8, right in the middle.
Yeah, figures. Thanks, George.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Thanks to SportsGrid host George Kurtz joining us as he does from time to time. So back to the college football board, which George just despises. So they are getting set to start the second half. Ohio still 7-3 over Western Michigan. Those numbers haven't changed. Kent State has scored. Back and forth they go with Akron, who figured this would be the better of the two games entertainment-wise. 21-17.
I bet the over.
Yeah,
I jumped in.
Pretty good.
I said it earlier off top of the show. I said, yeah, you know what? I said, this game is actually points going on. I'm going to jump in. Yeah. What did I get? 49.5. And, now the in-game total is like 60.5. That looks like they're about to score again, actually, in this game. I don't think it's going to stop, actually, guys.
Just locked it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stop. I think they go back and forth, actually. Like I said, you said, Akron are playing for a bowl, but Kent State aren't going away. They got nothing to lose. Right? They're going up and down the field tonight on them. We've already got 21 points, and we still have a lot of football left in this game. So I got my eye on that. And like you said, we're getting ready for the second half. I believe Ohio should get the ball first here because Western Michigan kicked that field goal. I see 32.5 right now. Do you think this game's going to open up?
Yeah, you would think so, right? They open up. It's got to go through 20 more. So you need 3 touchdowns and a field goal you need, right? 24 points in essence.
I don't know, man, if it gets that high, man. I'm sort of thinking – 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals?
I'm thinking 17-17. 2 touchdowns for Western Michigan, 10 points for Ohio. 31.5 points for a MAC game. How many MAC games don't have 32 points when everything is said and done, right?
You figure, they open up. They always open up these MAC games, where they the total, but I think we might be able to wait. Ohio's only scored once. Yeah, I'm just saying Ohio's only scored once, right? So they just had the ball at midfield with a minute left and couldn't do anything with it. So what I'm saying, Scott, is that Western Michigan kicks off, gets Ohio off the field. This thing dips to 29.5 or something. I'm going to wait it out. I want to see if it falls a little lighter here.
Yeah. I will say it's what's the difference points-wise? It makes a difference because right now you need 4 scores. If it goes even to 30, at least on FanDuel, it's 31.5, right? Which is 22 points. 3 touchdowns, you need still a field goal. If it goes under 31.5, let's say even just to 30.5, now you got only 3 touchdowns, all you need to go to over. So if you get it just under 31.5, you're saving yourself 1, score that you don't need. So that's why it's not a bad strategy if you want to take that risk. Now the gamblers, they come out and they score in their first possession and you're screwed. But if they don't, is it worth the risk of 1 less score? Probably is. Tell you the truth.
Kent State just scored again. 28-17. 28-17. Wow. So we're up to 45 right now with 6:09 left. 64.5 is the new total. So 45, basically another 3 touchdowns in this one. So yeah, three touchdowns if you want to bet the over of that. Akron are going to get desperate here. They're not going to have a choice but to really start throwing the football and picking up the pace right now. Like you said, they're fighting for their bowl lives right now.
Yeah. The carrot is out there for that to hit 64, right? Because theoretically the better team, Akron, 7-point favorite, 6.5-point favorite, is down 11. So, they definitely need at least 2 touchdowns. You only need 3 touchdowns for it to go over. So that's not in fact, would they allow you to take Akron in a money line of parlay and FanDuel? They would. If you think Akron's going to come back and win, listen, could it be 31-28?
Plus 200 on the money line.
Yeah. Plus 250.
I'm going to go over. I'm going over to 64.5.
Yeah.
I already have 49.5. So I'm sort of, I'm doubling down. Yeah. I'm going to win I should win the 49.5 here, obviously, but 64. I don't think it stops. Like I said, my bet is here. I think Akron are going to march down the field here and score, and boom. You know what I mean? And you know what, Scott? There could be a little bit of thing here with the number, though, right? They're going to go for 2 if they score.
Right, 11 points.
They're going to try to make it 28-25. It's college. I doubt that they're going to say, make it, they're going to go for 2. Right? So, they might not get it, and then it throws everything off a little bit here. But I'm going to go over to 64.5 because I really doubt that this is the last time that Kent State scored in this football game. Right? Yeah. They've already got 28 points. They're clearly, having a fun time tonight. So you figure Kent State has another touchdown, if not more, left in them. And, Akron's not going to tap out with their season on the line, losing to Kent State on their home field. I'm betting over 64.5.
I'm going to get greedy. They just lowered it to plus 220. It was plus 250 a second ago. But I'm going to put it in Akron and an over parlay. They're giving you plus 344. They whacked it. It was like 380
nice, yeah.
A second ago. But I'll take
I can
my
see them coming back.
Yeah. So, all right.
34-31. Louisville.
That's what I'm kind of gutted.
I was just going to say,
14.
you know what? Louisville have cut it to 11, and now it's 13 again. Like every time we sort of get there, it's frustrating. The carpet gets pulled out. I bet over 193.5. It's 194.5 in game right now. So we're at 153 with 8.5 left in the game. Illinois is pulling away on Tech right now. They're up by 13.
Yeah, disappointed in that. How about BYU losing at home
down
to
to
Delaware?
There's a lot of points.
The fighting Blue Hens, 31-23. They're still asking. I forget what the number was. It was like 20-some. It may even be higher.
It was like 28 and a half. It was pretty high. It was 27. I wanted to take Riverside tonight, but I didn't have the juice to do it. I was like, man, now you're just sort of throwing darts. But I thought, I was like, man, getting 19.5 with Riverside at New Mexico is a lot of points. Like, Riverside can play. Like, they're good enough to, like, hang around, slow the game down. And they're down by 4 right now at the half, right? So it's 30 for the Lobos. It's 36-32 New Mexico against UC Riverside. It's 14.5 now. So you sort of lost out on the value, but it's still a lot of points considering they're only down by 4 at the half. So you're getting 14.5.
Yeah, that's not bad. Tough to win at the pit, but still, they've survived that initial surge. They've shown.
What happened with UCLA last night?
Game went under. I know that. Playing with Georgia State or
West Georgia.
West Georgia. What the fudge is a West Georgia?
So, yeah, they didn't cover. Though that's another one, an underdog. These big numbers. They were laying 34.5. They won by 21.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
welcome back. In-game live, game day on the grid. Fast 2 hours here. Final segment. Recap our opening pickoff, Scott and Gabe. Mine's not doing too bad. I got Ohio plus 1.5 against Western Michigan. They're leading 7-3. That's a toss-up game, so we're still into that one. I got over 227.5 Golden State OKC. That's a blowout. Just an awful performance out of the Warriors. 104-72 as they close out the third quarter. The over-under now, anyway, is 235.5, so I'm looking halfway decent there. We got Anaheim and Colorado just underway. I got the Ducks plus the goal and a half, and in Kentucky, along with you, Gabe, I got them plus 6.5, making a little bit of a run. They cut it to 8. Louisville just called the timeout. So all 4 plays. It's like most bets. Any kind of luck, it's a toss-up, and we'll just see how things turn out when everything is said and done.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the air still tonight, including the MAC football game. They've cut the lead to 8. They've done this a couple of times. Now this is the critical part here, right? All right, you cut it to the point spread essentially, 6.5, 6, whatnot. But can you cut it to 3 and 4, et cetera? Do Louisville have a run coming in them? I get the feeling Kentucky are going to get back in this thing, though, that they are back in this thing. That total's 194.5 now. We bet 193.5. But games coming up right now. We talked about the Columbus Blue Jackets being on this prolonged road trip. Now they're in Seattle tonight. They've lost 4 straight games. It almost feels too good to be true that the Seattle Kraken are only minus 115 right now. Yeah. It's a trap. It looks like I'm going to walk right into the trap. And then you get the Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks. Anytime Canadian teams play each other, any one of them, it's almost like the military academy schools. Any combination, you wouldn't figure, why do Ottawa and Vancouver not like each other? They just don't. It's just the way that it is. You know what I mean? You get these random, and the Jets and the Canucks have gotten into it a lot, over the years, right? They're Western Canada teams and stuff. There's not room for everybody. The Jets have had success against them. They've beaten them 3 the last 4 times that they played. The Jets aren't playing great hockey right now. They've lost 3 games in a row. They're having a hard time scoring goals. They've only scored 2 goals in their last 3 games, the Winnipeg Jets. But then we talked about it, Scott. The Vancouver Canucks are 11-4 to the over on the season. Something's got to give here tonight. I got an even 6 right now. I'm going to roll the dice and play the under. I'm going to roll the dice and, for the love of God, that the Canucks actually play some defense tonight, Scott.
Yeah,
that's why I'm going to pray. Demko's back. They'll step up for him. It'll be all right, let's step up for Thatcher tonight.
Yeah. You're right. 2 goals. They scored 2 goals their last 3 games, Winnipeg, right? I mean, you could just
it's hard to bet it over 6.
Back. Yeah. And you could just take a step back and say, what are the chances of them losing 4 in a row? Right? It's kind of one of those, which is the dumbest bet in the world. In the history of betting, the dumbest bets in the world are, well, they're due. Or, well, will they really do this, right? Yeah, believe it or not, they can. But still, I make them all the time. Is Winnipeg really going to lose 4 in a row, right? I mean, they're too good to do that. So,
but how about this? I don't know if you believe in this too much, but the Vancouver Canucks have alternated wins and losses literally for 8 straight times, 8 straight games.
Wow.
8 straight times.
Lost last time?
They lost the last time. Yeah, it's amazing. It's they beat Edmonton, they lost to the Rangers. They beat the Blues, they lost to Minnesota. They beat Nashville, they lost to Chicago. They beat Columbus, they lost to Colorado. They bounce back. They don't lose 2 in a row. You know what I mean? But they don't win 2 in a row, Vancouver. That's why it's almost it's a big game for Vancouver tonight. It's all right, you know what? We're winning 2 in a row tonight. We're going to get above 500 finally, and we're going to get something going. So they are coming off a loss in overtime. They lost on Sunday 5-4 to Colorado in overtime. And if you notice their scores too, 5-4, 4-3, 5-2, 5-4. You know what I mean? There's a lot of close games for these guys. In their last 6 games, they've gone to overtime 3 times, the Vancouver Canucks.
Wow. 28 seconds in, Colorado's already scored. Nathan McKinnon gets an assist. Makar gets an assist. Troy Lehkonen gets the goal.
That's why we said bet the over 1.5. Over 1.5 in the first period, right? Wasn't minus 160 for nothing tonight.
It's amazing. Amazing. That's why you got to lay the minus 260. Put in a parlay if you have to with McKinnon scoring a point. So I like the under 144. Ohio St. Mary's. St. Mary's one of my automatic under teams, and I'm going to go over 165.5. Gonzaga and Creighton is Creighton, or Gonzaga is one of my automatic over teams. So
touchdown Western Michigan. So we got a 10-7 game.
Hey, there you go.
Things are going to open up here a little bit now. What's the new total?
Yeah.
37.5.
36. Yeah. That's why at 31.5. Hopefully you hop on board. Give it out of the next tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.